All right, so Aetna, some of the statistics you'll see, I do have some updated data that I think will be interesting for everyone to look at. These slides come specifically from them. The agenda, really quick, we're going to go over the basic fundamentals of the product, the needs analysis / warm-up questions as far as finding out how to really sell this, the product overview, where their easy to use online tools are at directly from their website and app, and then where Aetna has some places where you can get help from. All right, give me a second here. Screen's not cooperating. There we go. So about Aetna Insurance, they still have a A, excellent by AM Best Company. That's more for your guys. Good to know information. The highest they can get, there's only two other higher than that. There's A+ and A++. So they have the third highest rating out of the 16 different ratings they can get. They do have some affiliates there. You'll see Continental Life Insurance Company out of Brentwood, Tennessee. That's mainly where they work out of, everywhere around Nashville. More importantly for us, the AMBA and Aetna Senior Supplemental. For those that don't remember, we piloted this back in 2018. We're submitting 931 home care plus and recovery care with a placement rate of 59%. What I really want to point your attention to is in 2021, 89.28% placement rate. That is extremely high, guys, meaning essentially if you do the right underwriting, make sure everything's accurate, they want to push through these products. So we have a huge placement rate with Aetna. So as of 2022, you can see we're at 70%. So we've dipped a little bit, but we're at 6,023 that we've submitted with 4,254 effective. And I mean, their exact words at the summer sales rally when I got to meet them in Las Vegas was specifically that. Push those products through, guys. They like to approve the recovery care products, and they go to bat for us on a lot of these. But we are the #1 producing national marketing organization of Aetna short-term recovery products, which is pretty cool. So the needs analysis, warm-up questions, you all do that every day. I'm not going to spend a bunch of time on the actual questions themselves, but things to think about as you're going over this. So when you're meeting with your client, asking them the pertinent questions, you know, the recovery care, would you rather recover at home? You know, what does your situation look like? So when you're sitting down with a Mr. or Mrs. Jones, you know, and, you know, if I was talking to Jack, and I just bring him up because he's right on my screen, but if I were talking to Jack and, you know, asking, you know, Jack, do you, it's a spouse there, what does that look like? Am I going to be able to really take time off of work? Would you like to recover in a skilled nursing facility? Would you like to recover at home? I know the state of Texas doesn't have the rider of home recovery care. There's many other states that do. So you'll always want to focus on your guidelines there as far as what riders you have and which ones you don't. But when you're going through that, those are important questions to ask when you're getting ready to present this as a solution to Mr. and Mrs. Jones is, hey, what does that look like? You know, what do your kids do? That's a really important one. That's probably one of my favorite ones. No parent wants to sit down with their child and say, hey, are you willing to give up your job that you worked hard for and also take time out of your day to, if you have kids or anything else, to come take care of mom and dad? No parent wants to have that conversation. So thinking about those big picture items, often asking and paying attention to what's not being said. I'll give you another example. I used to sell Aetna products myself, and I had a gentleman one time who was about a 6'6", 250-pound former Army veteran. His wife was about 5'3" and maybe 100 pounds. If he needed help around the house, she wasn't going to be able to help him get out of bed or step into the shower. So thinking about things like that as presenting, you know, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, what does that look like for you? How are you going to be able to help with, you know, the ADLs that you're going to not be able to finish or complete throughout your day? So those are the best ways to present this solution of deciding, okay, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, how realistically, this is what this solution offers. This is what it looks like, and here's what I'm preventing you from doing. I'm keeping you from having to ask your daughter, who has a job that she works at, that she's worked very hard for and also helps take care of her family, of giving that up. Or if they live in another state, finding out where they live, that's equally important. understanding that, hey, are you willing to ask your daughter to move states or hang out with me, you know, your mom for a while her family stays somewhere else? We had a gentleman in a recent class share with us, and I asked him if he minded if I shared this today, and he said not at all. Him and his parents went through a really hard time where his dad was diagnosed with cancer, and they had to have someone come in to help around the house. And he made the comment that his daughter now goes to 2 Christmases because it was so financially hard on his mom and dad that once he recovered, they weren't able to stay together. It just got too frustrating, too hard for them to do it. And he thinks about that a lot as he's doing this job of, hey, it doesn't just affect your generation or your child, it could affect your grandkids. And I think that's really important to think about as we're sitting down and we're presenting these solutions of just, you know, things outside the box of how we present this, making them see that big picture of you're presenting this. Now we're going to get into a little bit more of the nuts and bolts of this policy, but does your client have coverage for a skilled stay-home healthcare or nursing care? Well, Aetna takes care of all of those. As we know, Medicare sometimes will only approve certain things. Aetna will take care of all of that. So specifically their recovery care, it's all levels of nursing facility care, skilled, intermediate, or custodial. They also provide services in assisted living facility, and then the home care optional weekly benefit. We'll go over individually all of those. So the daily nursing facility base, if you did not see in Slack yesterday, that was being passed around quite a bit. I was posting it as well. They've recently, as of today, up to $400 daily maximum. That is a game changer. That is huge. It includes assisted living and bed reservation. For those who may have forgot what that means, a lot of times you'll have a person who may have gone to a hospital. The number one reason why someone goes to a hospital over age 65 is a trip and a fall. Could happen just by breaking the leg. The skilled nursing facility is under no obligation to save that unless they're aware they have a policy like this. So they can save their bed reservation up to 10 days with a total of 20 days. But in saying that, that is a huge benefit to where Mrs. Jones can come out of the hospital and not have to worry about if her bed is there or not. There are plenty of times if you live, for example, in a rural area. I used to live in Indiana. And so when I sold similar policies like this, it wasn't uncommon for someone to come back from the hospital, have no bed reservation, and then have to drive 30 minutes or 40 minutes to the next place they could get into. Some of these places have insanely long waiting lists to get into. And if you live in an area where there's not a lot of them, that could really inconvenience an entire family. The issuing ages are the same, age 50 to 89. Choice of waiting period, 0, 20, or 100 days. Again, that's another great benefit as you're sitting down. They can choose of what that waiting period looks like. So if they already have something taken care of with long-term care, or there's a difference in the waiting period, those are great things to look at. Those things are just giving you that extended credibility as you're sitting down with them and being able to talk through that. All right, the daily nursing facility-based benefit pays a daily benefit for confinement in a nursing or assisted living facility, provided the policy holder can't perform 2 or more ADLs or has a cognitive impairment. The choice of covered days is still 90, 180, 270, or 360, which is a lifetime maximum equal to twice the number of covered days. Another way to present this, Mr. and Mrs. Jones are worried about price, and that comes up. Hey, I would love to have a year of coverage. Cool, let's take a look at 180 days. And get that twice lifetime maximum, and you can sit down and come close to a year. You have different options. I'm a huge believer of top-down selling. For those who don't know what that is you start at the highest benefit and you start to work your way down in customizing a policy that fits Mr. and Mrs. Jones. That's one of my favorite phrases when I used to meet with retirees or whoever I was presenting this to, is top-down selling is huge. I'm going to customize this policy to fit your needs. Especially if you are doing cross-selling and offering other solutions. It's another great way to get multiple applications submitted under one family, and you can cater many of our solutions to customize what they need. The same thing stays, at least 1 unit of $10 per day of daily hospital indemnity must be purchased within the daily nursing facility benefit. As I'm speaking on this, Like I said, that $400 max has already been affected on their online carrier portal and the app. If anyone hasn't seen that yet, I checked it this morning. It was working and ready to go. So continuing with that, again, issuing ages 50 to 89 of the hospital indemnity benefit pays for a daily hospital benefit. Policyholders confined in a hospital, including observation stays, up to $400 daily max for each day of confinement, 20 days per period of care, and a lifetime max of 365 days. The same thing, at least $10 per day needs to be purchased with that. So some of the optional benefits, I know this isn't included in the state of Texas and a couple other ones, just make sure you pay to your own state guidelines. But the issuing ages for the home care rider are 50 to 89. It pays for each week beneficiary receives 3 or more professional home care visits of at least 1 hour each. Now those can still be split up any way they see fit on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, whatever they need, but they do need 1 hour of each of 3 days. But up to $1,200 weekly maximum. Choice of covered weeks, 13, 26, or 52 weeks, with the lifetime maximum equal to twice the number of covered weeks. That $1,200 weekly maximum is huge. A lot of things can be used for that. And again, that benefit can be used for anything. They can pay a healthcare provider, or they can take care of things around the house. If Mr. Jones suddenly needs a wheelchair and he needs a wheelchair ramp, great, they can use that money to make payments on trying to get that installed. Another great way to prevent that solution. If they're in an apartment and they're on the 2nd or 3rd floor and there's no elevator and they need to pay to break their lease so they can go on the 1st floor, great, that's something else to think about. So there's multiple ways to prevent this solution, this rider, and really think about the big picture and again of what's not being said as we present this solution. So the frequently asked questions that Aetna gets are, what is the period of care? So that begins the first day of confinement in a hospital or nursing or assisted facility due to a covered injury or sickness. It ends when the insured has been out of the hospital and doesn't require medical care for 60 continuous days, or has been out of a nursing/assisted living facility and doesn't require medical care for 180 continuous days. Is the policy guaranteed renewable? Yes, as long as the policyholder continues to pay their premiums. Are benefits paid directly to the policyholder? I've kind of already answered that, but yes, unless assigned to a healthcare provider. And do premiums increase because of age or health? And no, they do not. They have very simplified underwriting. That's one of the things they pride themselves on. As I said at the beginning of this, they really want to push our applications through. We're their #1 producer. So yes or no application underwriting, no phone interview required, prescription drug check. There's you can reference the drug list. And again, they really push that underwriting for us. As long as the MIB checks out okay and everything makes sense, you're good to go. Pre-existing conditions, policy pays for pre-existing conditions after it has been in force for 6 months. Benefits for all other covered injury or sickness begins the date the policy is issued. Now, there are state variations, so please, as you start to get those new brochures to represent the new material, just make sure you're double checking all of that information. You can view the plans in your specific states by their website. They will have an outline, and the online tools I referenced, they have the Quotes on the Go app. So if you do not have this, I encourage you to get out your phone. It looks just like this. Quotes on the Go. It is an amazing resource. It is very user-friendly. I still teach it in every FSU. So for my new FSU people, you better not be shaking your head, no, you don't have this. But if you don't have it, please make sure you do. It is a lifeline. They have some great websites as well. And again, I have a screenshot here of what that looks like. Again, very easy to use. They've even changed a couple little things today. It is very user-friendly. But the Aetna Quote and Enroll easy online tool for electronic applications, which I always recommend just because they do get processed faster and you get paid faster as well. You can apply for multiple products at one time. Automated underwriting with most decisions within minutes. Multiple signature options are available for basically customer user friendly. And you can go to aetnaseniorproducts.com. All right, as we talk about, I won't subject anyone to my math problem here that I love to do, but long story short, on this page, the annual amount is the same if you pay the monthly amount. Therefore, that is a huge perk. Most insurance companies do not do that. You usually have a savings if you pay the annual amount. Well, for Aetna, they understood that a lot of our retirees are on a fixed income living with a very strict budget. So if they pay monthly, it is the exact same price as if they paid for the year. They also still get that 30-day free look, which is a great way to sell this policy if they are unsure or need to talk to someone about it or think about some things. Great, Mrs. Jones, you've got 30 days to think about it. Let's go ahead, see if you qualify. You have 30 days to change your mind, where all full refund of premiums will be paid back to you if you decide not to do it. I would highly recommend if you go that route, though. I do think that's a last resort to make sure that you are following up with them consistently through that 30 days to make sure they're comfortable with it. All right, so Aetna, here to help. I would either take a screenshot of these, or you can go back and visit our webinar once it's posted on our Agent Development Center. But the email here, they have a website with a live chat if you didn't know that, and then they have a phone number that you can call them and get help at any point in time. So I'll give everyone a minute. Looks like some people are writing that down. Give everyone a minute to get that taken care of. All right, looks like most people are just about done. Again, if not, feel free to reach out to me. I can get you this information, or it will be on our new Agent Development Center website that will be on SharePoint. We are going to be holding multiple product refreshes just like this. That is the presentation from Aetna and myself.